Today we're going to be talking about The Soul Food by Electro-Harmonix. So The Soul Food by Electro-Harmonix is based on the really popular, highly sought after pedal, the KLON CENTAUR. That pedal, if you can get it on the cheap, is like $1,500, and that's if it's in like really bad condition, needs some work. If you find a pristine one, it's around $3,000, and that's just because there were only 8,000 of them made, and if that sounds like a lot, but if you think about it, an arena holds 65,000 people, so there's not a lot of them made. A lot of people have used them. Both Eddie Vedder used them, and the other two guitar players in Pearl Jam. I mean, almost everybody's used them. John Mayer is also very famous for using a KLON. I don't think he has it in his live setup anymore, just because they're very highly sought after. But I think he's retired it. Dan from That Pedal Show has one. There's a lot of them. They're around. But in the last 10 years, since the pedal market has exploded, There's this thing called a clone, if you've heard of, where they take the circuit, or not even the exact circuit, just kind of try and emulate the sound. And that's very, very popular with the KLON, which is what this is based off of. This is a clone of the KLON. But there's thousands of them. And the guy that made the original KLON, Bill Flanagan, he makes a newer version. It's all hand-wired. Supposedly it sounds almost identical. It's called the KTR KLON. You can buy it. It's around $300, which is obviously much better than the $3,000. But there's thousands of them. I know Roya makes one. Wampler makes one. JHS used to make one. Almost every pedal manufacturer makes a KLON clone because they're so sought after and they sound so good. And as you heard, drive knob has so much gain. I mean, this pedal has so much. You could use it as your lead boost, a regular overdrive, or just kind of like a coloration thing. I use it as my first stage overdrive, and when I was playing, I only had the drive knob like just past 7 o'clock. It does not take a lot to get some dirt out of this thing. You can also turn the drive all the way down and boost the volume, and that's one of the most popular ways to use it. I don't do that because I think there are pedals that do that kind of thing better. I like to leave the volume at noon and then just kind of play with the drive knob up or down depending on what I need it for. And you can see the tone knob is able to treble, and that's because as you turn the drive knob up, it really gets really dark and mid-rangey, so I imagine when they were building that, that's why they put that there. And I think the Tumnus from Wampler, they make two versions. They make a regular one similar to this, a little smaller. Then they make one, I think it's called the Tumnus Plus, maybe, and it has a bass control. Because that's a fairly common complaint, is there's no bass control on this. And another thing is this pedal is buffered. It is not true bypass. And that's controversial for some goddamn reason. Meaning, when the pedal is off, it doesn't just pass through the input jacks. It actually goes through a buffer circuit. And the best way I can try to explain a buffer circuit is it adds strength to your signal, not gain, not audible gain, although you can hear it. It adds strength to your signal to get through long cable runs. If you think about it, there's tons of circuitry in here, and then all your other pedals, plus, let's just say, a 10-foot cable on each side. You're probably looking at around 35 feet of cable. That's a lot of copper to go through. And a buffer just helps your signal pass through all that very cleanly. A good way to hear that is you lose top end. So let's get into some science here. As your signal goes through a cable, the shielding around the cable interacts with your signal in the same way that rolling your tone knob off is. It adds capacitance, which is why a capacitor is called a capacitor, because it adds capacitance, which rolls off the top end. So a lot of people say you shouldn't have really long cable runs. For that reason, you'll lose top end and clarity. A buffer will help you do that. This Soul Food does have a buffer on it, and you have the option to turn it on or off. I have it on because I like buffers. I have two in my my rig currently right now. This one, and I have an input buffer on my volume pedal. So that's another reason people say the pedal is very mythical. Another reason is the germanium clipping stage. The KLON CENTAUR has germanium capacitors in it. I'm not sure the exact name of them. You can look that up. But that's another thing that people say, KLONs, there's nothing that sounds just like it. Well, that's bullshit. It's a transparent overdrive, which means it sounds like your guitar and your amp just going through an overdrive circuit. And that's why people say their KLON sounds mythical or individual, because it honestly changes from player to player because it's so transparent. No, there are other pedals like a Big Muff that just destroy your tone, but in a desirable way. So the KLON and the KLON clones are kind of controversial because people rave up and down that's their $3,000 pedal they paid for sounds so much different than all these other pedals that are, I think this is like $100. You can probably even find it used cheaper. I mean, they all have that same kind of thing going on. Obviously, some are different, but that just depends on what your taste is. What I would love to do on this channel is collect a bunch of different clones. You can't collect them all because there's so many. And I would love to just shoot them out. I would even love to get a real one on here. I obviously don't have enough money to buy one, but I think there's one in Cincinnati because I used to work at a recording studio and people used to talk about this guy that had one. So I'm going to try and reach out to him, see if I can like borrow it for the day or even have him come on here to talk about it. I don't remember his name though. I'm going to have to text some people about that. But even if I don't have a real one, I can still get some of the clones on here just to shoot them out. I would love to do that in the future. So look out for that video. Thank you all for watching. You guys know what to do with the crap down here. Thank you. See you later.